For a century, oil dictated global power. Wars were fought over it. Economies rose and fell with its price. Alliances formed and shattered around its supply. But beneath your feet, a new battleground is emerging: lithium and cobalt, rare earth metals. The materials that power your phone, your car, the weapons defending nations. And one country controls most of the supply chain. You live in a world transitioning from fossil fuels to electrification. Electric vehicles, AI data centers, renewable energy grids all depend on critical minerals. Here's the key difference from oil. These materials exist in specific geological formations. Extracting them in usable concentrations requires precise conditions that only certain locations provide. This isn't like drilling for crude oil anywhere you find it. The geology matters in ways it never did before. China controls roughly 60% of rare earth processing, 70% of cobalt refining, and 80% of lithium battery production. Not because these minerals only exist in China, they're found worldwide. But China spent decades building the infrastructure, while Western nations ignored the strategic importance. These people saw the future and invested in it. Everyone else outsourced the problem. To understand how this happened, go back to the 1990s. China identified critical minerals as a national priority and invested heavily in mining, refining, and processing. Often accepting environmental costs other nations refused. While democracies debated regulations and NIMBY protests shut down projects, China built an empire beneath the surface. Patient, methodical, strategic. Western countries, meanwhile, outsource these dirty, labor-intensive industries. Cheaper to buy refined materials than operate your own mines. The economics made sense in the short term. But this is where the vulnerability emerged. Supply chains became concentrated in a single geopolitical rival. You traded efficiency for security without realizing the price. Rare earth metals are particularly critical. Despite the name, they're not rare, but extracting and refining them is toxic and expensive. You need them for everything: smartphone screens, wind turbines, fighter jet engines, precision-guided missiles. 17 elements that most people have never heard of, controlling technologies everyone depends on. Scientific models suggest no viable substitutes exist for most applications. China has already demonstrated willingness to use this leverage. In 2010, during a territorial dispute with Japan, China restricted rare earth exports. Prices spiked 600%. Production lines halted. The message was clear: these minerals are now a weapon. Not hypothetically, actually. Lithium and cobalt face similar dynamics. The Democratic Republic of Congo produces 70% of the world's cobalt. Much of it mined in dangerous, unregulated conditions. And most of it flows to Chinese refiners before reaching your electric car battery. You charge your Tesla with minerals extracted in equatorial Africa, processed in Chinese industrial zones, then shipped to American factories. Every link in that chain is a potential choke point. Consider what happens if tensions escalate over Taiwan. China could cut off exports of processed critical minerals to the United States and Europe. Your electric vehicle production halts within weeks. Your military's advanced weapon systems can't be manufactured. Renewable energy projects stall indefinitely. This isn't speculation. Defense analysts run these scenarios constantly. The vulnerability is real and growing. The United States and Europe are now scrambling to build alternative supply chains. New mines in Australia, Canada, Greenland, refining facilities in Texas and Germany. But this takes a decade or more, and the infrastructure gap is massive. China has a 30-year head start. You can't make up that difference with subsidies alone. This shift reveals something uncomfortable. The green energy transition doesn't eliminate resource geopolitics, it just changes the resources. You're swapping dependence on Middle Eastern oil for dependence on Chinese minerals. Different geography, same strategic problem, perhaps worse. Which is concerning because clean energy was supposed to increase independence and security. Instead, nations discover they've traded one vulnerability for another. And the choke points may be even more concentrated than before. OPEC had a dozen members. China's mineral control is nearly singular. So where does that leave you? The next decade will determine whether democracies can build resilient mineral supply chains or whether authoritarian control of critical materials reshapes global power. The wars of your future may not be fought over oil fields. They'll be fought over lithium mines and refining plants. And the outcome will decide who controls the technology that defines this century. Not just economically, militarily, politically. Every dimension of power flows through materials most people never think about. Until the supply disappears. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe and make sure to leave a comment below. See you in the next video. Stay curious.